Sean was driving, so we said, Sean, just act confident and just drive straight as if we live here. And then we got stopped.
You're listening to Experience This, a show about the emerging experience economy with your host, Tom Young.
Hi, everybody. Hey, welcome to the show. This is Tom Young. Let's go around the room.
Hey, this is Sean.
Hey, this is Karen Bashwa.
This is Rohan Kapoor.
Great. Hey, thanks. Hey, so we're out here in San Francisco with the team for the IBM Think Conference, and we scheduled to be out here from Sunday to Sunday as we bookended the trip. And as soon as we finalized our plans, the three of you decided what would be better than coming out here immediately. And then you booked a last minute plane adjustments, and I don't know what the hell you did. But, I overheard you doing stuff, and I just you were encouraging Bart and I to come with you, but it was I think a bridge too far for us.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you booked a flight. You came out Saturday morning, dark 30.
No, Friday morning.
Friday. Oh, holy cow!
Yeah.
Next
So you
day.
came out Friday morning, dark 30, and you were going to get last I heard you were going to get a Porsche and drive up and down the California highway.
Yeah.
And go to Big Sur. So what happened? So what did you do?
So yeah, last minute change of flights, landed, and I think at the airport in New York, we booked a car because we wanted to do the trip.
No Porsche.
No Porsche, unfortunately. It took us.
Only because they wouldn't allow us to return it in the city. We could have got the Porsche. We would have had to return it back at SFO.
Yeah,
That was a bit. You should have done that.
we should have done
Yeah, no, that was a regret.
that. That was a regret.
Yeah, and hitchhike back from the airport.
I would have walked.
Yeah.
Worth it.
So yeah, we landed, we ended up picking up an Infinity.
Yeah.
Picked up the Infinity, walked past a couple of Porsches just to rub salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Picked up a car, and then we just started driving south with no real plan. We knew we wanted to get to Big Sur. And yeah, we stopped along the way. It's a beautiful drive.
So you
down there.
took Pacific Coast Highway.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
But we on day one, Friday, we wanted to do Carmel. So we drove straight down into Carmel. We kind
Right.
of tried to do the 17-mile drive from 3 different access points, because there's 3 gates. There's 3 ways
Right.
to enter the drive.
Right. Yeah.
We couldn't get in.
So the 17-mile drive is on the Monterey Peninsula,
Yeah.
where Cypress Point and Pebble Beach are. And if there's a golf tournament, they close that off.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
AT&T has their Pro-Am tournament
Is
happening.
that this weekend?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
I know.
All right.
So we tried. So I told Sean was driving. So we said, Sean, just act confident and just drive straight as if we live here. And then we got stopped.
Tell them you're a VJ Sings caddy.
Yeah.
So you didn't do that, but you did get to drive up and down the Pacific Coast Highway.
Well, we did part of the Pacific Coast Highway
Yeah.
up into Carmel.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we basically spent that whole Friday exploring Carmel.
So.
And on the drive, we made a stop at Google and some other interesting stuff.
Did
just for
did
pictures.
they let you in?
You can walk the campus. You can go all around the campus, and you can even ride the bike. They've got bikes lying everywhere.
So did you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You rode bikes on the Google campus?
Yeah. We've got some good video footage of
I'll
everyone on
bet
bikes.
that's wild.
Yeah.
And there's probably, I don't know, something like
All right, so
50 buildings there.
This is going to go back to our whole notion of the experience stuff. So we had the plan for to be on here for our team. So you just moved the flight up with no plan other than you were going to rent a car and figure it out.
Yes.
So you got in the car and you started figuring it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And your only real plan was to go down the Monterey Peninsula, down to Carmel and Big Sur, etc.
Correct.
So you get down there, you pass Mountain View, you go into Google and ride the bike.
Yeah, we literally.
Now at this point, you don't have a place to stay, right?
No.
So Google was literally just driving, and then we were like, "Oh, Mountain View, Google's there. Let's just
Take the exit.
Let's just take the exit and check it out." So yeah, we ended up getting down to Carmel for around lunchtime, and still had no place to stay. We were going to continue down to Big Sur, and I guess it turns out that 2 bottles of wine is not very conducive to driving. So we're like, I guess we're going to stay in Carmel tonight. And we looked at the accommodation. Most of it was pretty expensive on Google.
And
So-
sold out
And sold out. A lot of them sold out.
because of the tournament in Pebble Beach.
Right, right.
So I think the overflow of guests were all staying
Yeah.
in Carmel by the Sea.
So we had a 2-hour car park. We wanted to move the car just to refresh that. And on the way up, we actually saw a Best Western.
Yeah.
And we were like, it looked a bit crummy. And we were like, oh, should we stop in here? But now let's carry on walking. And then next door to that was,
All right, so I'm going to give you a quick tip.
yeah.
Best Western allows pets.
Okay.
All right, so there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enough said.
If there's a vacancy, that's why.
Yeah. So we carried on walking, and next door to the Best Western was the Vagabond Inn, which we felt was pretty fitting. And so we walked in there, and the guy said, we said we needed room for 3 people, and he said,
Sold out.
completely sold out. And he's like, oh, actually, I think the guy next door to the office, there's a room next door to the office. I think he might have left early this morning because he said something about he had to get back to San Francisco for some urgent work. And we're like, okay, let's check it out. We walked in and there was enough room for all of us. And he's like, wow, you guys got lucky. This is like the last room that we have available. And we only have it because the guy left early. So we're like, oh, I'll take it.
So you literally stayed in a place, and by literally I mean literally, stayed in a place called the Vagabond Inn.
Yes.
Do you know the funniest thing as well? When we walked in, it was 3:55, and it took about 5 minutes.
PM.
PM.
Yeah.
It took about 5 minutes to sort the room out, and then we literally dumped our bags, and the guy came in and was like, "Oh, we're doing a free wine and cheese thing that starts at 4. You guys want to stop in?" So he cracked open a bottle of wine, and we just sat there chatting to the Vagabond Inn
Manager.
manager,
Yeah.
which was good timing as well.
And this is in downtown Carmel?
Yeah.
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 Carmel is really pretty. It's it's kind of a beach town. A lot of private residences,
Yeah.
and then a lot of these inns that are very quaint and beautiful.
Right.
But the place is Ocean Avenue is the main street there, and then there's just beautiful galleries and restaurants. And then when we went out, we actually stopped into a wine tasting, and nobody was in there, but the door was open. So there's a bar, and it said wine tasting on the sign.
So how many bottles of wine are you into at this point?
Well, we
This
did
your
stop
third
at
bottle?
that Italian place. We had
Oh, yeah. So-
You guys don't even remember what.
This is quite difficult
Yeah.
recalling. It also feels like it was so long ago. I don't know
I
if you
know.
have that feeling, but
So today is Monday, and this was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like 3
And
weeks
it's a
ago.
blur.
Yeah, it's a blur.
I definitely think I'm gonna do this more often. Where I think if you could sort accommodation,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it, really. Because accommodation we got lucky with.
yeah,
I think if you can get a roof over your head and leave everything unplanned, it's
that's the move.
Yeah.
it's the move.
That's my move.
Well,
yeah.
to be open to whatever pops in,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the wine and cheese thing at the hotel.
Right.
But look, if you bookend, there's 2 kinds of bookending. One is just the transportation in and out.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is transportation in and out plus the place you're going to stay.
Yeah.
Now, I like to ride by the seat of the pants and not have a place to stay when you're doing this kind of format.
Mm-hmm.
But that you do need to look at what's happening. Like if the Pope is visiting,
Yeah.
can't get a room.
Yeah.
Yep.
If there's a big tournament or if there's a big conference, so you want to avoid that because then you're going to have limited options. But if you do a quick look on places to stay and there's literally dozens and dozens of places, then you don't book it.
Yeah.
And you wait till that day because you want to see what pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so the things that you didn't plan, you probably had the most fun. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think I was personally, out of the 3 of us, I was probably slightly the least resistant to this whole plan of leaving Friday morning because my mindset just wasn't there. And then
You were the most resistant.
Yeah,
I mean.
sorry, the
Oh,
most
yeah,
resistant.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we probably got to when we started driving and got to Carmel where I was like, all right, this is going to be really good. But I did subconsciously have to remind myself, like, this is one of those times where you need to push yourself out of the comfort zone
Right.
to actually be able to enjoy
Yeah.
it. But I was like, oh, I was ready to leave Sunday. Now I got to pack tonight. And these things kind of crept
Right.
up.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, especially with these kind of things, you can't always just go in completely assuming everything's gonna be fairy tales. We had things that didn't work out. Like we wanted to go on the 17-mile thing. We weren't able to do that. It was raining.
Yes.
And that was kind of annoying. But I mean, we've got umbrellas. We solved it. So it's never gonna be perfect. But looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, that was definitely still worth it. Those minor inconveniences you just lose sight of.
And so so a couple aspects, and again, I want to take this back to derivative form, right? Experiences are best shared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Fair.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what you have at the end of an experience is a memory,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
right? And so a shared experience that's memorable is valuable. Is that a fair conclusion?
Definitely.
So far, it sounds like you guys had a good time. So what happened that night? Did you guys like pass out drunk after drinking wine all day? What did you do?
So we ended up in that one wine tasting, the vineyard that had a location there, and we got a great story about. The guy, you know, the history of the vineyard and whatnot, and then I ended up purchasing a $45 bottle of wine because we had such a good experience. It was literally the three of us.
Albatross
Vineyard.
Yeah.
It was the three of us plus the I guess the worker,
Yeah.
who was super knowledgeable about the entire history of that particular vineyard. But it was such a cool experience to talk to him one-on-one. We learned about why Pinot Noir grows in colder climates and all the stuff about winemaking.
Yeah, that experience of chatting to him then, and probably a bit of alcohol, led to the decision to purchase. I mean, it's $40 bottle of wine is 45, right? I
Yeah.
think it came out to.
Yeah.
But it was driven by that experience of, oh wow, like when I'm going to be drinking this bottle, I'm going to be reminiscing about
Yeah.
That story.
that story.
So Bart, you had a question from the audience
Yeah, I
here?
was interested in all of this kind of strategy you guys are talking about to have this new sort of spontaneous vacation. So I'm wondering, does it work the same way in terms of your mentality if you plan this trip months in advance, but just say we're only going to find a place to stay and not think about anything else, but you still know you're going, versus going 12 hours later? You know, you think there's like a lot of extra excitement and mystery if you don't even know you're going?
Yeah.
I think it definitely adds to it. The fact that we just did this the day before we went, you're already amped and excited, and there's definitely some sort of
Adrenaline.
Yeah.
A bit of an adrenaline rush.
yeah.
Cool. I was just very impressed. It was very intimidating to me. I just had to go home and go to sleep. Just
No, we were
at the
trying
thought
to-
of you guys recommending this.
We were trying to convince you to.
Oh, you were. The old man in me was just not having it.
Do you
But I
think-
always say, like, what is the worst that could have happened?
I don't know. You guys had the right idea. I just
I
you know.
would say getting arrested.
Wheel of
There's
Fortune.
also several things.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, Rohan, you brought up a good point about the. You had this conversation and you purchased this bottle of wine. Now you still have it?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So this goes back to some of our conversations
Yeah.
about retail, right? If you can add a retail component to an experience without being overly egregious of the retailism, that extends your experience. So it's a great bottle of wine. You do that and you drink it and you have fun and you go back and you relive that memory because the tangible all you left was an intangible with an experience, which is a shared thing. And souvenirs used to be, they're less so today because of digital pictures and things like that. But souvenirs used to be the things you put on the shelf or the thing you have to remind you of the trip that you had, right? Because you couldn't catalog it the way you do today. But if I go to some place and buy a souvenir and then give it to somebody who wasn't part of that experience, it doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh, here's the St. Louis Arch. You know, I didn't go there, so I don't really know what that means. Anyway, I feel like, you know, you shared this little experience, so we can crack that bottle of wine. And I can have a little taste.
But it's also interesting the type of souvenir, quote unquote, that we
Right.
purchased, right?
Right.
So we've purchased something which we can drink together.
It'll lead to another
experience
later.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not just something that we're gonna. It wasn't
on
even
a
a
shelf
photo
forever.
that we're gonna put on a shelf. It's something that we're going to engage with and participate and do stuff together again.
All right. So we just finished day one. So you stay over at the Vagabond Inn. Saturday, because we don't even get out here till Sunday morning.
So okay.
So what'd you do Saturday?
So from Carmel by the Sea
Yeah.
to it's called Bixby Bridge, Bixby,
Right.
in Big Sur.
Yeah.
That it's about an hour drive. Oh no, I'm sorry.
No,
it was only about 30
Are you
minutes.
still at the
30
Vagabond
minutes.
Inn, or did you check out?
No,
We
we
checked out.
checked out at 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
And the plan the night before was, do we go back to San Francisco and spend the day in San Francisco, or do we still go further south? And now the roles have reversed a little bit, because these guys were saying, well, maybe we should go back to the city. And I was like, no, we're 15 to 20 minutes away from this beautiful bridge in Big Sur. We need to go down there.
Right.
And so we got into the car at 7:30 a.m., drove down Highway 1, and probably stopped about 13 times because it's so stunning and picturesque.
Yeah. It was.
Did the
amazing.
weather improve a little bit while you were there?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little overcast, but it was.
Especially on the way back, it was just perfect. Whether the sun
Yeah.
came out and
So you go down to Big Sur, and then you're down there, and then you decide to come back and stay in the city.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then we took,
Did you do the hostel with Sean?
I couldn't convince him.
Oh, come on.
we took him to a trendy boutique hotel instead.
Okay.
Boo.
So when you drove back up, did you drive up the Pacific Coast Highway all the way up through
Yep.
Half Moon Bay and all
Yes.
that?
Yep.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
did.
that must have taken all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
We-
of the
Yeah.
day.
We didn't get back here till about 4 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had a good time. That was a great drive.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend to anyone listening.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
If
even
you-
Monterey, where we stopped there for
Monterey
breakfast.
was really cool. It's insane. So we stopped in Monterey on Saturday morning. Must have been like 9:30, 10ish, and like the quality of life out there is insane. We parked up by the beach, and we walked to a cafe just on the pier, and there's like must be 12-year-old kids taking surf lessons, bunch of people in scuba diving gear. There was kayaking out on the ocean. It's just it's the insane level of quality of life, and also people are just so chilled. Like the service there, you go to a coffee shop and like you're waiting like 20 minutes after you ordered, but like no one seems to care. They're just enjoying their like relaxed Saturday. And like for me, it's like now I'm ingrained in this New York way, East Coast way, where it's like
Yeah.
it's weird. It feels weird after 5 minutes that you haven't got your coffee, and you have to adjust to that.
Yeah.
And once you do, it's just so good. Yeah.
So all right. So Saturday night, you get up here, you check into your boutique hotel. What kind of did you book that from the car?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Cool.
And that was a Sheraton property.
Yeah. Okay. So nothing interesting about that.
No, not really. We kind of just went in and dumped our bags and
Yeah.
then headed out into the city.
And then when we got here Sunday morning, some of the texts that I got from you indicated that the prior night involved some amount of indiscretion.
Yeah. It was a lot of mixing of drinks. I think we stayed in one. So we went to Mission District, which is really cool. It reminds me a lot of the Lower East Side in Manhattan for anyone that's been
Yep.
there. Very trendy.
A bit gritty.
A bit gritty,
Yeah.
but it's nice. They have we went to a taqueria there, which was amazing, and we ended up going to a bar, and just I think we were going to stay there for a drink. We ended up staying there for far too many. And at one point, I turned around and Sean had like a tequila in his hand, and it just
We stayed there from 7 p.m. till 2 a.m.
yeah
Holy cow.
yeah.
It's funny because we started at like this little round table, and there wasn't many people there, so everyone's just sitting drinking, and as the night progressed, this bar became like packed.
Yeah.
And it just looked kind of weird with like us three sitting at a table and just drinking leisurely, where everyone else is just out and about, dancing, doing their thing. So eventually, I think we all made our move down to the dance floor area. The DJ was amazing.
And Sean is
Very
as
engaging.
one of our
Talent
managers on this trip. Did you meet any talent?
There was plenty of talent there.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Bart's walking back, our other talent manager. So that sounds great. So you guys had a good time. We got in on Sunday morning. We had we flew out dark 30 and got here right before lunch. And we had a good day yesterday as well. We did a little walk around down the Fisherman's Wharf. We took the trolley cars, the cable cars, up and down the hills and had a couple beers, walked around, and then we had a good dinner on the Fisherman's Wharf last night. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I want to give special thanks to the Le Meridian Hotel where we're staying here down in San Francisco for allowing us to use this front room here. We're at the corner of
Battery and
Clay.
Battery and
Yeah.
Clay. It feels like this is if people could see in, you really can't see in these windows. We can see out, they can't see in, but it feels like we're a little bit like Fox in Midtown in New York.
Yeah.
People walking by. We had a fire engine go by on the prior show, so pretty interesting. But anyway, special thanks to Le Meridian for allowing us to do this. And later today, we're going to go up to Sausalito, north of the city, and grab something to eat up there. Maybe do another impromptu podcast, and then we'll go up to the John Muir Forest and see the big redwoods and get a little sense of the outside culture here.
Another cool experience.
My guess is will also be some wine involved with that adventure as well. So we'll take some pictures and hopefully get that out on our shared folder, and we'll talk about this experience as well in our next show. All right. Any other final comments from everybody?
I guess just very briefly going back to the wine tasting. We obviously work in tech, and we're here for this IBM conference. But it's often easy to forget the human component and how important that piece is to great experiences. So whilst technology, moving at an amazing pace and extremely useful, it's important, I think, when you're thinking about experience, especially with retail, to really think out the human interaction component of that as well, because that's really, really important.
Well, so again, one of the premises that we have around this whole thing is, and the reason we started this podcast was to talk about how we can use digital technologies to enhance our experiences.
Yep.
So let's just go back and do a quick recap of your couple days where you guys. Now, let me just ask you, great experience for a couple days. To tack on a few at the front. You guys agree with that?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So no doubt about that. Now, I would argue you were only able to do that in the way you did because of digital technologies. The ability to book a room from the car, to be able to easily make your decisions about what kind of car to use. So a lot of the things we take for granted about, a lot of travel's been digitized in terms of the commerce. So you can book a room, you can do all kinds of stuff. Now, the Vagabond Inn was probably an analog experience.
It was.
But a lot of the things that it helped you go do that in terms of deciding where to stay, what to do, where to go, using things like Yelp and other things like social media to decide, hey, is this a good place or a bad place?
Yep.
And so anyway, so we want to explore a little bit more about how we use the digital technologies to enhance our analog experience,
Yep.
if I could say that.
Yep.
And so we're going to try that today. So to think about how we, again, we're going to have some analog experiences over the coming week. Let's think about how technology is there to help us and not distract us. To me, the big distraction would be if we went to the John Muir Forest to see all these big redwoods and everyone's on their phones on Instagram.
You're
Right?
right.
It's like, okay, no, you can do that later.
Yeah.
But if we use the app to decide to find the coolest tree to go see,
Yeah.
that's a use of the technology to go improve your analog experience.
Yep.
So anyway, we're looking forward to that, and we'll head out around lunchtime today and go have some fun.
Yep.
Sounds
All
good.
right, great.
wait.
All right, thanks everybody.
See ya.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Karen Bajwa. Thanks for checking out the show today. If you like what you heard, head on over to our website, rumjog.com. If you happen to be in the New York or New Jersey area, come check out our meetup called Digital Disruption. We cover topics like you heard today with a live audience. Lastly, don't forget to follow us on social media using the handle @rumjog. Talk to you soon.